Hi there and welcome back to another video. My name is Monica of Milly and Monica and I'm a full-time clothing reseller on both Poshmark and eBay. Today's video is all about cleaning leather, specifically shoes and bags and maybe even some belts. So if you are at all interested in reseller related content, selling clothing online, and of course making money online, please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and of course give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out here on YouTube. Now, if you are a clothing reseller or looking to be a clothing reseller, doing some leather work is going to be really important to your business because cleaning up the leather can bring a lot more value to the items. So the items I'm going to be sharing today are mostly just leather bags, so purses, and some leather shoes. Now you can definitely use these tricks on like leather belts as well. I just don't have any at the moment to show you. So I do want to share the products I'm going to be using because these are my go-to products. So I do have all of these products linked in my Amazon store down below. So you can order any of these items. They can be shipped to you so you can do this work at home yourself. Now my favorite polish is kiwi polish. So I have the black and the brown here. I also really like these little, this is Kiwi brand as well. It has a little sponge top. However, because this is really old, my sponge top have broken off. I've used these so much that the sponge tops broke off. So I am currently just using these two, and then because they don't have the sponge tops, the kit that I have did come with this little sponge here, and or you can use these little pieces here. I would just recommend having separate ones for the separate colors, which I'll show you in a little bit. You can take any cloth. So like sometimes if my husband has old shirts that are stained or gross, I'll just cut them up for rags for using the polish on them. And then a couple of other items that I use and I'll be showing you are these leather wipes. Sometimes I order them online, sometimes I find them at TJ Maxx, but they're leather wipes and they're just really great at kind of getting some debris off the item, or if the item's in pretty good condition, just has some light scuffing, I'll use a leather wipe. And then my favorite and my absolute must-have is this Doc Martens Wonder Balm. Now, I've had this for going on, gosh, I think almost 2 years, and I still have some in there. I do believe the container has changed. I think it's a black instead of silver now, but it's the same stuff as far as I know, and it lasts forever. Like I said, I've had this for almost 2 years, and I use it very regularly, and I'll have to get a new one sometime, probably in the next few months, but it'll still last me a while. So I'll show you how I use all of these products. Again, they're linked down below, and I'm excited to show you what a little bit of love and TLC can do to these items and bring you a little bit more money when you're looking to resell them. So let's follow along and see what changes we can make. Okay, so this is the first pair that I'm going to work on, and these shoes really don't need a whole lot of work. So I'm going to start with light. Something light. So these wipes are really what I use for items that don't need a lot of work, or are items that maybe are a different color leather, like a red or a green, or something that is, you know, I can't just take one of these polishes. I probably could use this polish on this pair of shoes, but they just don't need that much work. So I'm just going to take a wipe here, and I'm just going to wipe it across the shoe. And, you know, because it is a little damp right now, you will notice a difference right away. It'll look different, but it will need to dry to get the overall like a lasting effect. So in this situation, I'm just wiping it down, and I honestly, a lot of people ask me for a shoe cleaning video. I don't do a lot of cleaning. Like I do leather work, but I don't like scrub the shoes, so that's not something I do. If a shoe needs that much work, I'm honestly not going to pick them up. Now I know everyone doesn't have maybe that luxury, but if a shoe needs a lot of work, if they're just in really bad shape, I just don't pick them up. But these don't need much. And you can see, compared to this other one, you can see the difference right now, but that's just because, you know, they haven't dried. So it does need to dry a little bit, and we'll look at them in a second after I work on some of these other pairs. I'm going to switch now to a different product. I'm going to use this Doc Martens balm, and I'm going to use them on this pair of boots. And I just want to show you the difference and kind of how I use them. So this pair of boots, I shared in a recent video, but I'm pretty sure they were a floor model. They have their tags on them still. They have some scuffs, like maybe they were thrown around, but overall they're in really good condition and don't appear to have been really worn. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the Wonder Balm and I'm going to just kind of and apply it over the boot, and you'll just see it's pretty quick and simple, but I'm just going to do one boot right now so you can see kind of the difference, and then we'll take a look at the first pair of shoes to see how they're doing. So with the Wonder Balm, like I said earlier, I've had this for an extremely long time, and it comes with this little sponge. It's kind of worn out because I've used it so much, but I just put a little bit on there, and then a little bit goes a long way. So I'll just start applying it to the boot in kind of a circular motion, and again, a little goes a long way, and I'll just rub it around on the boot until I've covered the entire boot. And I'm just going to continue here. I'm hoping the camera angle is okay. I normally don't do this style of video, but again, I'm just going to do one boot and then we can compare and see what it looks like. I do find that with this Doc Martens balm, like what you see now is kind of what you're going to get later, whereas the wipes will look a little bit different. It is easier to lay the boot on the surface and kind of go from there. So again, a little bit goes a long ways. I haven't put any more on yet, so I just put a little bit on, and we can take a look here and compare. So side by side, I think the one looks much better. I'm not sure if you can really tell on the camera, but definitely this one you can see a lot more of the scuffs versus this one you can't, and it just feels a lot better. So this is a great trick too, you know, for just your own personal boots. Like if you have a great pair of boots that are a little scuffed up, get you some Wonder Balm, and a little goes a long way, and it'll extend the life of your boots for a very long time. So here's, you know, the first one. Hopefully you can see the scuffs, and this is the one we put the balm on. So it just looks a lot better, and there's still going to be scuffs, there's still going to be some marks, and that's, I think, just fine as it is leather, and that's to be expected. So let's go back to our like sneakers here. That one, we just put the wipe on this one versus this one didn't have the wipe. So I'm actually going to go in with the Wonder Balm just because, like, personally, I really like the Wonder Balm. I think these wipes are honestly really good for if you have, like, if it's has a lot of dust, if it's a leather with a lot of dust, which I have an item in a bit that I'll show you. I think the wipes are really great for dusty items, dusty leather items, I should say. But honestly, I think the Wonder Balm is really what's going to be best for these sneakers. I just kind of wanted to show you the difference. So now I am going to go ahead with the Wonder Balm and just going to go over it anyway. So here we go. I haven't even put any more Wonder Balm on. I'm just using what's left on kind of this little sponge here. The leather is just absorbing it, to be honest. Like, it's really taking it right in. It was just a little thirsty, I guess. So I do want to now show you again the difference between, hopefully you can see the difference. I do have my ring light out and on, so hopefully that's helping. But I think that looks, this one definitely looks much better, so hopefully you can see the difference. And I'll of course do the second one later, but for now I just want you to be able to tell. Now this pair, we're doing shoes I guess here at the beginning, needs another step. So this pair needs another step, and that's where this polish is actually going to come into play, because as you can see here, the toes are really pretty scuffed up, and I want to get color back in there. Now, if these were red or green or a different color, I wouldn't even bother, to be honest. I would just use the Wonder Balm. But because they're brown, like, I can go in and add some color. So I want to show you how I do that. So first of all, I love the kiwi, said that earlier. You do need to, like, twist this. This is a new, completely new, I haven't used this one yet, because my brown one with this brown just broke. The little sponge broke off the top. So anyway, I am going to use this, and I'm going to use a clean cloth that doesn't have any existing color on it, because I wouldn't want to have used this if there's black on it, because I wouldn't want to get the black on the brown shoe. I think that's pretty obvious probably, but here again, a little will go a long way for now, and I'll just apply that again in the circular motion to the shoe. And kind of cover, probably do the whole shoe, but already I hope you can see that. I think, there we go. It might be a little darker at first, but it'll dry and it'll look a little bit different. So, you know, if you're doing this at home, don't get too freaked out, but a little goes a long way. And I'll go over the entire shoe. This area kind of in the heel is where there'll be usually quite a bit of wear. And when I'm done with this, we'll go over it with the Wonder Balm, the Doc Martens, because it just adds like an extra layer of protection for the leather, which is really nice. So this is looking really good. The brown is a really great match. There we go. That looks pretty good. We'll go over with the Wonder Balm, and that'll just make it look even better. So normally I would let this dry a little bit longer, but for time's sake, video's sake, I am just going to, I hope you can see the difference there. For the time's sake, I'm just going to go ahead with my little Doc Martens Wonder Balm and go right over that polish and show you the difference, because I think it looks fantastic when it's all done. Again, this is something you don't have to do if you're just, you know, reselling. You can do this for your own shoes. Like, make the life of your shoes last that much longer. I should actually, what would be best here is, since this is like a strap, if I want to get the full strap, I really need to unbuckle it here so I can get all of it. But kind of get into those crevices. Some people use like toothbrush. They'll use a toothbrush to get really in there. I don't think I need to for this pair. I think it'll be fine just what I'm doing. This looks really, really good right now. So hopefully you can see that. They look so much better right now. And I'll be excited to do the other one, this one, because it's still a pretty rough shape. But there you can really see the difference. Yeah, so that is my favorite thing to do. It's so easy, it's so quick, it doesn't take a lot of time. Now here's where this leather wipe would come in handy. So the inside of the shoe is kind of like dusty, and to take that on the inside, to kind of grab that, is what I use a lot of these wipes for, to be honest, because they are like the leather lined. So that just cleans it up a little bit, but really I don't wipe these down with Lysol. I know some people do. I don't scrub the bottoms. I just leave it as is. Someone wore this like it's a used shoe. So that's kind of my philosophy. You know, once in a blue moon, if I get a sneaker, I'll use one of these, but then they get really nasty and these flake all over the place. So this is a magic eraser. If, you know, like I said, with a sneaker, if I'm trying to get it really white, sometimes I'll use a magic eraser, but it's not something that I enjoy doing at all. So a lot of times I'll bypass sneakers for that reason. Okay, so now let's get to some bags. So since we already have the brown out, I'm going to go with this Coach bag. This Coach bag is in rough shape. You can see, hopefully you can see how scuffed up this is. And it's just up here, like someone had like tape or something there, is what it looks like to me. Hopefully you can see that, but it definitely needs some love here. So again, I'm just going to go in with my brown and the same rag that I've been using to add the color, because color is our issue here, especially around these corners. I really want to work into there. I'm probably only going to do half the bag. I'm kind of split it so you can see the difference. I really want you to be able to see here what this is going to do and the difference it's going to, you know, the life that it's going to bring to this bag. So let's get started here. So I'm just going to make sure it's down. I am kind of working on this white board. This board is easy to wipe up and clean up, so if I get any polish on it, I'm not too concerned. So again, just taking my polish, I'm just going to do half of the bag. There's a fair amount on here. There's a fair amount more that needs to be done. This one's really going to absorb the color because there's so much missing. I really enjoy doing this in the summer when I can be outside, because the polish does have kind of a strong odor, definitely. So if you're kind of sensitive to that, you know, you might want to do it outside or in a garage or something like that. Again, I'm just really going to try to do half of this bag so you can see the difference. And it will look slightly different after it's dried a few hours. I think that's important to note. Maybe you'll need to go in with another round of polish, and that would be okay. But most of the time I don't. I rarely do it twice. But I think the really important part is the Doc Martens balm. It's kind of the big trick, I would say. And then just making sure that you're getting all the different areas of the bag. And it's not going to be perfect. I think that's important to note. Like, it's not going to be perfect. You can already see the difference. So, like I said, I'm only doing half of the bag. I'm not going to do the full bag. This one's soaking in the polish much quicker than the last pair of shoes did. So I'm going to need more polish on this bag. I'm going to switch to the sponge to see if it works a little bit better for this bag, because it might. So here's the sponge. Yeah, that's nicer, honestly. Now we're going to tackle some of these corners, because you can see there's quite a bit of color loss there. That makes a huge difference. And is bringing so much more life to this bag. This is something that I do to my personal Coach bags, you know, probably once a year, just to kind of bring them back to life. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you too long because I think you get the gist, but I really just want you to be able to see what kind of difference this makes. So here we have the corner that's been polished, and here we have the corner that's not. And I think you can clearly see what a difference that makes. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Doc Marten over it, just so you can see what this is going to really look like when it's all done. I feel like this Doc Martens also gives it a bit of a shine, which I love. And I will go back later and do all of this, because I know I'm going quickly for video's sake, just so you can kind of see. Hopefully you can see the difference here. So I did this half, not this half. I did this corner, and not this corner. So I'll go in later and I'll completely finish this bag up, do the back side, and I'll get just all these areas. Another thing that these are good for, like this hardware, I'm going to come in and clean up kind of this hardware a little bit. If there's any polish on there, or sometimes if there's any tarnish, it'll sometimes take it off. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to move on to a different bag. Now, a bag that, this one is very dusty. This is just a vintage leather bag. It's not a Coach bag. It's just a leather bag. It's a nice quality. That's where this this rag's going to come in. There is a bit of brown on it, but not too much. So I'm just going to use it. Don't want to waste it. Get some of the dust and grime off of it first before I go in with any polish. Just remove any dirt. Okay, so this is actually future Monica coming to you with a little PSA. So after starting to do a little bit more research on this, what I thought to be authentic Coach bag, I actually found out that it's a counterfeit or a fake Coach bag. So I'm actually going to use this video to do just kind of a little bit of, I guess, guidance on how to go about authenticating your vintage Coach bags if you weren't quite sure. And so the reason I didn't really do a whole lot of research on this bag to begin with is because I actually own this one in black. And I thought they were basically the same style, so I wasn't really worried about it not being authentic, and I didn't really look at it too much or do much research. But what I did end up finding out is that in the inside, so in the inside of these vintage Coach bags, they should usually have a serial number, which this one does. They're just kind of hard to show you one-handed. So there you can see the serial number, and it has the 2 letters before the hyphen. Now that's a red flag, and when you Google the serial number, it comes up as a fake serial number that was often used in counterfeits. And so that is a huge sign that it's not authentic. And so when I go over to this one, we can actually see that this one has 3 letters and numbers before the hyphen, which is what it should have. And when I Google this serial number, it actually comes up with this style. So I do know that this one is authentic. And then when I started looking at this one a little bit more, I just realized that, you know, the leather was a little bit of a different quality. The structure was a little bit different. And then the hardware here is also a good indicator. So this one's like really flimsy. It's not as like good quality, whereas like this one here is really sturdy, it's heavier, and just a better overall quality. And same with the hardware here in the buckle, like this one is just kind of loose, again flimsy, whereas the one here is just very solid and sturdy. So a great brass piece here. So overall, I think this was just a really good piece to show you how I do leather work, even if it's not authentic, even if I'm not able to sell it. You can still see that there is some wear here, but overall, it does look a lot better. And so I think you were able to get really kind of the main point of this video, which was how to clean up the leather. And I just want to let you know, I am just going to keep this bag for myself because it is still a nice leather bag. However, I can't sell it online, and I don't want to donate it. I don't want it to circulate back into the wild, and I don't want to just throw it away either. So, you know, it's already been made. I'm just going to use this bag myself because obviously I do like the style. And yeah, so hopefully this was just a little good, like a little educational piece on how to identify authentic vintage Coach bags. That's not what I intended for this video, but you got a little extra, I guess. And now we'll get back to the leather work part of this video. Okay, so here are the finished items. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing how I use these products to clean my leather, to bring it back to life, to extend the lifetime of these pieces. And although it's not perfect, it does make a big difference. So for instance, I do want to point out, like, this is still not perfect. You can still see that there's some wear here, and that's just how it's going to be. You know, it's much better than it was before, but it's not perfect. It is a vintage piece, it is leather, and leather is going to show some scuffing. It's just kind of how it is. So, you know, this is here, this piece turned out really, really nicely. Here's that spot. There's still a tear there, but it's not as obvious. And overall, these pieces look a lot better. They will need some dry time, so they're really kind of shiny and bright looking now, and they will lose a little bit of that, but overall, they will still look very similar to how they are now. So I'll let them dry for about 24 hours and kind of soak in the Wonder Balm, in the polish, and before I photograph them. Okay, thank you so much for following along with this video, seeing how I was able to clean up those pieces. I really hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about how I do some leather work. If you have any questions, again, please just leave them down below. And just remember, you can find all of these cleaning products in my Amazon shop if you're curious to check them out for yourselves. And let me know how your leather projects turn out. I would love to hear from you. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.